What's going on, my cool cats and kittens? Welcome back to another daily DGen report. Man, oh man, we have a lot to talk about today. Number one, I don't know if you want to call it my comeback tour, my revenge tour, whatever it is, but I had another profitable trading day. I locked in $2,000. I want to break that trade down because I think there's something we could all learn from it. In reality, the trade was a pretty simple one. I also want to get into some of the biggest news of the day. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you heard that TikTok might be banned in the US. Now, obviously, that's very popular news. Like I said, you probably already heard about it, but what you might have missed is that news caused one stock to rip to the high heavens, and it might continue to squeeze. So I want to explain everything you need to know there. And I also want to get into the things you need to know for tomorrow. Yes, there are a handful of major macroeconomic events coming out in the morning, but more importantly, I want to break down some of these stocks where I'm seeing interesting movement, and it's just something worthwhile to put on your watch list. Now, before we get into all that, if you enjoy these types of updates, if you enjoy a trade recap, or really anything in between, let me know by smashing that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, with that being said, let's rock. By the time the casino closed today, things were a little bit red. S&P 500 and the Nasdaq closed lower Wednesday as Nvidia and tech sector falter. So yeah, the bears won the day, but that did not stop me from making my tendies. Daily DGen report plus 2.4 thousand. So here's how it all went down. At 10:01 in the morning, my system that measures various different aspects of the market was confidently bearish. In fact, it was a 4 out of 5 star, and this happened, like I said, a half hour into the trading day, suggested a SPY call credit spread, a Q call credit spread. Both of these hit, but I didn't take that trade. Personally, I took it through the SPX just because it's European instead of American contract. That's besides the point. If you're curious about it, I could explain it to you if you join the Discord. But anyway, I took it on the overall market, and here's what happened. Basically, the market showed weakness. Piper inherently measures various forms of momentum. There was enough bearish momentum that's saying, hey, I doubt there's a chance that we recover. So right around 10:05 in the morning, I sold some S&P 500 call premium, basically saying, hey, even if the market goes up, I don't think it's going to go up that much, but I'd prefer it goes sideways or down. And that's exactly what happened. I was able to lock in my gains right around 3:15. And right here, I actually have the proof for you. I got in at 10:05 in the morning, right after Piper fired, and I was able to take my tendies around 3:05 and sold at 90. Captured it back at 10, made 80 cents or $80 per contract, about 89%. And that's how I was able to make 2.4K before fees, which ended up being 2,246 after fees, which actually brings the account total to 34,917. Do I have quite the journey in front of me to make back the recent losses? Without a doubt, but I hope you join me for the journey. Now, if you're curious about the journey, what call credit spreads are, what put credit spreads are, what Piper is, if you want to learn about how to sell premium, at least ideally, hopefully, in a statistically favorable, profitable way, join up with the Discord. It's free. It's pinned below. Use the code Goonie and check it out. I think you're gonna like it. If you don't, okay, whatever. I'm sorry. I wish I was better, but I really do think you're gonna enjoy it. So that's the trade of the day, day 3 of the comeback journey, and it's gonna take a while, but I'm more than prepared to do so. Moving on to the major news of the day, Trump winning Republican nomination, setting up rematch with Biden. It is official. Our 2 selections, whether you like it or you don't, are going to be Trump and Biden. Biden gets enough delegates to win the 2024 Democratic nomination. Obviously, I'm bringing this up not just to randomly inform you, but whoever it is going to clearly have implications on the economy and also on the stock market. With that in mind, please remember when it comes to voting, I get that some people get on their high horse and they virtue signal about what is right, what is wrong. Statistically, though, based on the US voting history, most people vote with the checkbook. When people are feeling the financial pinch, they want to switch things up because it's kind of the mindset of, well, it can't get much worse. And then when things are going well, they're like, hey, I really like this. I don't want to switch things up. And that's exactly right now why Biden, the incumbent, is actually at an all-time high disapproval rating. Now, I know in the comments below, you could argue with me and be like, well, he didn't cause inflation. I get it. We don't have to get into the minutia of who did what. It's more of how people feel because that's how people are going to vote. It's one of the old sayings of don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. It's much more important of what people feel that the narrative is rather than is that narrative right. Just want to share a couple thoughts there. The other big news of the day was TikTok. House passes bill that could lead to a TikTok ban. fight shifts to the Senate. So it already passed through the House, and in America, you have to go through the House, and then it goes to the Senate, then it goes to the president. It has to go through both chambers first. So is it automatically going to get banned? No. If you're some Gen Z kid watching this video, hey, hi, nice to meet you. I don't really have many Gen Z kids watch my videos, so it's cool that you're here. But anyway, you don't have to freak out. TikTok at this moment is not banned. But what was kind of crazy about it is the fact that so many members within the House wanted it to get banned. I'm saying that this was a bipartisan effort. Republicans, Democrats, they all said, kick it out.
On this vote, the yeas are 352, the nays are 65.
Overwhelming.
Present, 2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed. And without the objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
That was the official announcement that the House had passed it. That means it goes to the Senate. But I also want to let you know that wasn't the only piece of commentary. This was absolutely hilarious from one of the best traders known to man, the GOAT of Wall Street herself, Nancy Pelosi, giving us a hilarious comedic bit.
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe, a winner. A winner.
And they say the government can't be funny. Now, this leads me to what I alluded to in the intro of, okay, we get it. Maybe it's going to get banned. Maybe it's not. Regardless, by the time we figure it out, it's going to take quite a bit of time. But this news in itself caused one stock to rip to the high heavens. This is from Rumble in the competitive space with Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and their whole mantra is effectively free speech. Anyway, on Twitter, the CEO, founder, chairman, Chris Pavlovski put out a letter to the CEO of TikTok saying, hey, we're more than happy to be involved in a group that buys TikTok. We'll do the cloud server, all of that. And I don't know if they responded. No one knows if they responded, but it doesn't matter because the market reacted as, oh, Nelly. So historically, Rum ripped, then it consolidated, and then on this news over the past 2 days, it's gone rip city. In 2 days of trading, it is up 27%. At its high of the day, it was up 37.7%. And year to date, Rumble stock is now up 91%. That is crazy. So the gains themselves aren't the only thing here. I think it might actually go even higher because look at this. 18% short interest, cost to borrow clocking in just below 43, and the utilization almost maxed out, coming in at 97%. Now, I want to let you know, since I'm a content creator on Rumble, I've already been in their stock. I've been investing in it when I learned about it. So I don't want you to be like, wait, do you own it? Do you not? Yes, I own it, but I'm a long-term investor. If it does squeeze, I think that's going to be awesome, but I'm more excited about where Rumble's going to go 1, 2, 3 decades from now. I truly think this will be a massive tech titan. Eventually, I think it's going to take time. It is a relatively new company, but I just want to be completely transparent about what's going on there. So obviously, it is worth a spot on your watch list. The other thing that's worth a spot on your watch list is Bitcoin. Bitcoin I-74,000 is BTC ETFC, a record $1 billion in net inflows. Folks, you don't need to overcomplicate this. Price is the equilibrium between supply and demand. If your supply is low and your demand is high, it will go up. You don't need to make it more complicated than that at all. The fact that where there's more demand than about 10 to 12 to 14x of the inflows per day, that shows you the multiple, the magnitude of demand that there is for Bitcoin. And as long as that persists, yes, price is going to keep going up to the point that we actually hit a new all-time high today of 73,710. And right now, obviously trading in the realm of lower 73. So as I'm filming this, at least we're not hitting a new all-time high, but it is still worth 1.4 trillion. And that puts the overall crypto space worth 2.76 trillion. Gains are amazing. This graphic right here, shout out to CoinGlass, is a good, in my opinion, a very good visual of what I'm talking about with supply and demand. We already know, based on the amount of miners, how much supply is coming into the market per day. When it comes to the world of Bitcoin, it's about 900. And obviously mid-April, that'll cut to 450. But demand has already been pretty high for the past year. But look at it. It's just ripping and ripping and ripping. And then the question is, will it continue to do this? I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars in total management already, and these things were approved 2 months ago. And you can tell that it's really starting to spill over into the world of mainstream, which gives me, I guess, the sneaky suspicion that this is going to continue. Check out what Drake, one of the most followed people on Instagram, just posted to his own profile. It's a video of Michael Saylor, the King Orange Pillar himself.
Does it ever have to be a currency? Or do you think it ever becomes a quote unquote currency?
It doesn't have to be a currency. Nobody's trying to buy a cup of coffee with a fraction of their building on Fifth Avenue.
My point in sharing that is expressing, at least to the best of my ability, of how this is becoming a lot bigger than degenerate trading, than Wall Street. This is now officially mainstream, which is another, I guess, suggestion that demand is continuing to rise and rise and rise, and pretty much all metrics point towards that. Spot Bitcoin ETFs could see $220 billion in inflows in the next 3 years, according to JMP Securities. Coinbase is well positioned to take advantage of this situation, and they actually moved their price target all the way up to $300. Separately, Wall Street giant JP Morgan estimated $62 billion of Bitcoin ETF inflows in the next 2 to 3 years. This is a big deal because most people are holding their Bitcoin. They're refusing to sell it. The order book is a very thin one, which means there's not much liquidity, but these ETFs, based on the inflows, the money they have, they just have to go out and buy it. They're not looking at technicals. They're not looking at RSI, MACD. They're not saying, oh, we're going to wait for a percentage up. The money that comes in, like, we have to buy, so they buy it. But if there's not much willing to be sold, they go higher and higher and higher to find a willing buyer. So for me, short, medium term, long term especially, I am very bullish on what's going down. So we've talked about Bitcoin, obviously worth a spot on your watch list, hitting a new all-time high. We talked about Rumble. Looks like it's about to go squeeze city, and really you could argue that it already has, up about 100% this year. The other things I need you to look at are a quick review from yesterday. I told you I'm in NVIDIA. NVIDIA didn't move today. It's an inside day. The high was lower, the low was higher previous to the previous day. Inside day, non-trading day, same thing with Meta. So I'm watching those two, but I also want to put Tesla on your watch list. Unfortunately, the bears are clearly in control. An official breakdown. It was trying to save itself as 175. Recently, a couple articles came out about the weakness of the EV industry, and also Tesla itself. Some analysts downgraded its price target, actually saying it might fall another 30% from here. That spooked enough people. It couldn't hold the 175 support. And as I've been putting in the newsletter, as I've been explaining in these videos, if that doesn't hold, I think there's a very real shot that it's quickly going to capitulate down to 164. So I just want to put out a little bit of a warning there. Also, you should know that early before the market opens tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning, we get the PPI report, the producer price index. Earlier this week, we got the CPI report. So instead of being consumer, this is for the producers. And we also get the retail sales. These are both important measures of the demand, what's going, basically, we get a better idea of inflation. That's the best way I can explain it. So don't be surprised an hour before the market opens if there's a bit of volatility in the market. Obviously, I'll be streaming this whole thing. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, hey, I would love to watch a live show of a degenerate trader, man, oh man, do I have something to tell you. That's exactly what I do. Every Monday to Friday, 9 to 11, your boy's live streaming, and there's a lot of degeneracy involved. So I hope to see you there. I hope you enjoy the video. I appreciate a second of your time. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.